Parents, what's your best worst dating story? After losing my husband in a car accident, I spent 3 years focused solely on raising our son, Jake. Dating wasn't even on my radar until my sister created a dating profile for me as a birthday gift. I reluctantly agreed to one date with Mark, a divorced father who seemed normal in messages. Our first date was surprisingly comfortable. Mark was attentive, asked thoughtful questions about Jake, and shared stories about his daughter without making her his entire personality. When he asked for a second date, I agreed, but established my boundaries. No meeting Jake until I was certain about us. 6 months in, things were going well. Mark respected my rules, never pushed to meet Jake, and understood when I canceled last minute because of parenting emergencies. I started to think maybe I'd found someone who truly understood the single-parent life. Then came Jake's 10th birthday. I'd planned a small celebration at the local arcade, just Jake and 3 friends. As I was helping the arcade staff set up our reserved area, I froze. There was Mark across the room, with a girl about Jake's age who had to be his daughter. I panicked. Should I leave? Pretend I didn't see him? But before I could decide, Jake burst in with his friends, spotted the girl, and yelled, "Emma!" They ran to each other and hugged like old friends. Confused, I approached Mark, who looked equally shocked. "You're Jake's mom?" he asked, eyes wide. Turns out, Emma and Jake were in the same class. They'd become friends months ago, and Mark had been dropping Emma off for play dates at Jake's house for weeks. He'd never come inside because Emma's mom, his ex-wife, usually picked her up. We'd been dating for months while our kids had already formed their own friendship, completely unaware of our connection. The birthday party became an impromptu meet-the-kids moment. Watching Mark interact with Jake, helping with the games, laughing at his jokes, made my heart swell. Jake whispered to me later, "Emma's dad is cool. You should date him, Mom." I thought we were heading towards something beautiful. Mark and I started including the kids in some of our dates. Movie nights, hikes, even a weekend camping trip. Jake adored Mark, and I fell in love with how Emma's face lit up when she talked about books, just like her father's. 3 months later, Mark asked me to meet him for coffee without the kids. His expression was serious as he slid a small velvet box across the table. My heart raced. Was this happening? "I can't do this anymore," he said quietly. "Emma's mom wants to try again, for Emma's sake." I sat there, stunned, as he explained how his ex-wife had been diagnosed with MS. She needed support, and Emma needed both parents. The box wasn't a ring. It was a necklace he'd bought me weeks ago, but never had the chance to give. The hardest part wasn't losing Mark. It was watching Jake lose another person he'd grown to love. For weeks, he asked when we'd see Emma and Mark again. I couldn't bring myself to tell him that Emma had switched to another class to make things less awkward. I haven't heard from Mark. I don't know if I will, but I've learned that when you're a parent, love stories don't just involve 2 hearts, they involve entire families.